Well, that was a tough one, Who Dat Nation. Coming in right now, basically, and I don't know if I'm actually live right now or not. Are we live? What's going on? I am running way off base here. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I think it had something to do with the fact that I let it run over. So we'll try to run it from here. Um, yeah, hopefully it's acting right. I can't really tell, but it's it was a tough game. I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough game. We you went in there with just, I mean, honestly, very little chance of winning the game, and you were going to have to play a perfect game. And from the jump, it the questionable stuff that we do to hurt ourselves just kicks right in when you win the toss, but you elect to receive on the road in Arrowhead against a really good defense. Now, some people are gonna, like, the analytics and everything tell you don't ever do that. Generally speaking, nobody in the NFL really ever does. You just defer, but you take the ball. So if you're going to take the ball, you have to go score. You have to. It's no ifs and or buts about it. Questionably to borderline dumb decision right there, right off the bat before you even start the game. And if you go down and score 7, maybe you look like a genius. I don't know. But then you get the terrible pass for the pick. Um, I hope that was Carr um, trying to throw it away and not trying to force a ball in there. But even if he was trying to do that, it was a god awful pass because it was picked. Just nothing good coming from that. They go down and score. Yeah. So that's two of them. You're going, man, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Then you had a play on their first field goal drive that on first down, you finally get some really good pressure on Mahomes. And of all people, Demario Davis is right there, going to grab him for the sack and misses him. He steps up, he hits Hunt, 15-yard completion. that one, look, that wasn't a bad decision or anything, but that was one, like, one of the true plays that I saw and went, it's gonna be one of those nights. I know the greatness of Mahomes. I understand it, he does that a lot, but I also know the greatness of DeMario, and that's kinda like the mano a mano, our best defender, your best offensive player, and it's like, "Ah, crap," you know? But after that, just roll through about 5 more, just dumbness, just you have a just end of the first half that the what are we doing calling timeout? Like we're going to get the ball back and drive it down the field and score. You held them to field goal. You did a great job of doing that. And you had some questionable plays on that drive to let them get out of the hole and get down there and get within field goal range. And in fact, they were sitting in the red zone when you had them stone cold stop on a third and incredibly stupidly long. So you hold them field goal down by 6. Just try to get to halftime. But we're going to call a timeout. Like, we know he's going to kick the field goal. We get the ball back. We're going to go down and score. Didn't work out. You don't run any clock trying to do it. On top of that, one of your bad decisions happens on the kickoff return. What in the hell is Jamal Williams doing? And I think it's high time to quit letting him return kicks. Because at this point, I don't even know what Jamal Williams is really doing on the team to help you win at any given point. But you can't do that. You got to get the ball in the 30 right there. If that's your intention to go score, 10 yards of real estate is just too much to give up on something as boneheaded as what he did on the return. Now you get it back, they kick another field goal. So instead of down 6, you're down 9. They're getting the ball back after the second half. You stone cold stop them. And for a while in the second half, you were playing them dead even. And it looks like you had the game turned around. You were going to go down. And you get a touchdown, but you give it right back to him. You have another drive where you think you're going to go score. Finally, Mason Tipton makes a big play to convert third down. And what in the hell was Chris Olave doing on the illegal procedure? I don't know. So, look, it's just stuff like that, man. If you have hard enough time when you're doing too much of this stuff to beat a normal NFL team, to beat the two-time defending Super Bowl champion with the best player in football as their quarterback. And these are just here, just mental lack of focus errors. It just, DeMario was a physical one, but like I said, I brought that up because it's just a bad sign when our best can't make the play on their best when you really needed it. So I mentioned it, but pull that one out. But everything else I'm gonna say from this point on is it was right here. And we keep doing it over and over again. And we're miss PAT. As far as I can tell, it was a good snap and it was a good hole. And he just yanked it. In a greater scheme of things, right now, it's looking like that 1 point didn't really matter a whole hell of a lot. But it was still backbreaking crap. It's just another gut punch you take right there, going, man, we get it within 2, and then you let them go right back down the field. In the final, on the play that it looks like got Carr hurt because he took a vicious shot on that heavy blitz. I think that was a zero look. I don't think there was a safety back there. I think they were sending everybody that they could and just trying to match up what they could on the go routes. And a ball that Tipton just can't quite come up with, that Carr had to string out there because it was nothing but throw it down there. Somebody's got to run under it because they're coming. He takes a lick, went limp into the locker room after that. So that's why Hayner got mop up time and in garbage time. But prior to that play, you're 4th and 8 in the fourth quarter. You're going to go for it, but you can't get a play in. Play clock's winding down. I think it was somewhere around 3 or 4 seconds. We weren't even close to lining up to run a play for whatever reason. So then you burn one of your last 2 timeouts. So now you're sitting on only one. You don't convert. They get the ball back. It's basically the game. They go down, get a field goal. But even if you convert right there and you and you manage to score points, that say a touchdown, and you're in a tight game with them still at this point, you're going to need the ball back at some point, or you're going to need to run a 2-minute offense to try to go win the game, depending on what happens, after the point. After the point you score, if you're able to convert to make any of this worthwhile, you still have one timeout to either get the ball back or try to go score with very little time left. I mean, I can't take these. I'd rather they'd have just lined up, you know, we defer, we give them the ball, they march right down the field, score, stop us, score, stop, I could have almost lived with that going, look, at our best, with everybody healthy and playing well, this is gonna be a tough game to win. It's winnable because the flip side of this is Kansas City's 5-0 right now, and they're not playing like Kansas City. They're playing great defense. That's what's helping them out. But offensively, they're just they're consistent. You saw that tonight. They just know how to get the ball in the space. They can run 4 tight ends out there and throw the ball for a first down and not even have to throw it to Travis Kelce, because like Noah Gray grabs a couple, for Christ's sake. Some guy Fortson, who I'd never heard of, who had apparently been there before, left, came back. He catches a big pass for a conversion in that 4 tight end set. So, it's just kind of one thing after the other. I'm losing patience with DA. Um, I'm kind of glad I'm doing this um, instead of listening to his post game press conference, because some of this is his decisions that you just scratch your head, or you go, what the hell are you doing? I mean, that timeout at the end of the first half, I'm just going, Jesus. But these plays, like when it's like when things get tight, when the pressure's on, we got guys that are just could be better at not doing the stuff that is going to prevent you to win games you could win. And in this case, like I said, I don't know if you could have won this game, but if you eliminate that stuff, you have a shot. You can eliminate half of that stuff, you might have a shot. So, uh, just an unbelievable mess. Um, what you got? Hey, Northern Saint. Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, that's a little earlier. I'm saying, yeah, missing a field goal and the end zone interception, which we give a Debo some crap for his aggressive play that leads to penalties, and that was the same drive. I think the PI was on there, but on that he reached in and batted that ball away from um, Smith Schuster, who probably would have caught it, you would think, but yeah, the tip there, Debo did get a hand on it on the close. So I mean, that's the thing with Debo, the way he plays the game. You take the good with the bad. So we kind of had both on that drive. But if Kansas City was playing as well as Kansas City has played over the last 2 years in their Super Bowl runs in this game, yeah, Butker makes the field goal. That's a touchdown. There's several other um, plays they left on the field at times, even with all the great plays that they made, and that's KC. That's what they do. And unlike us, when things get really, really tight and they need to go do something, they figure out a way to get it done. So he said in a video earlier this week, situational football, they're fantastic at it. Um, Getting available personnel on the field and being able to use them and dial up plays. Sometimes just very simple stuff that seems like it doesn't mean much. And then you kind of get into those 4 tight end sets, or Kelsey taking a direct snap and getting it off to Worthy, who was in the end zone before a blink of an eye on his touchdown run. They do stuff like that really, really well. And and it all starts with Mahomes. Look, let's be honest. Had we played the perfect game, because this is the this is the first non-one score game win they've had. Um, but the four previous, I mean, somewhere along the way, Mahomes had to do some magic, and he did some magic tonight with some of that unbelievable stuff he can do. Either get rid of the ball when he's in trouble, or making four people miss to scramble out and go run for a first down, which I think he did twice tonight that I can think of. It's probably more than that. Yeah, and statistically, you look at everything. I took a glance at him while the game was winding down, when I was trying to get this running without whatever was going on earlier in this. Um, Time of possession was about 2 to 1. Yardage was about 2 to 1. There was nothing there. Both teams gave up a sack. Both teams threw a pick. It was almost like the big play stuff just kind of in a weird way canceled each other out. But it was the steady play, the methodical way they run their offense, and they take their deep shots when you can, when they see they have the opportunity to, or they have guys that can just find space and make plays, make one guy miss. You know, um, just find the little subtle crease in his zone. We played a lot of zone tonight, and now just to rewatch the game to know this for sure, but it seems like a lot of the times we had pretty decent coverage and some guys bottled up, and Mahomes didn't have anywhere to go with the ball at first, and he does his Mahomes thing to buy a little time. And I'm not talking about the crazy scrambles, just a little slide to the right or whatever, and somebody that they have has finally worked into a little space stop, settled down, he gets him the ball, or they're moving into space where he can hit him on the run, and they did that a couple times tonight where he gets, instead of a 4 or 5 yard completion, it turns into a bigger play. Um, Great quarterbacks can do that kind of stuff. Defensively, I thought we mixed it up a whole lot. We got burned on some of, like, the overload blitz, um, that he caught us on. A lot of quarterbacks in the league, you might actually get a sack on that. He unfortunately recognized it just in one of them. So he's like, well, if you're going to blitz on my left, I'm going to get the ball and move to the right because there's nobody over there. I'll have some time. And I think that was another completion to Smith Schuster, for to convert a first down. So you had your hands full, just in the sense, like I said, situational football, great coaching, both sides of the ball. Andy Reid, head coach slash offense coordinator slash play caller type guy, did a great job tonight. Spags, who's come a long way from the days of riding Coughlin's coattails and being kind of bad for us for one season, really going into one of those guys that can scheme and play call too, and such an advantage for them on both sides of the ball. Um, so disappointing. I'm disappointed in the fact that we had some opportunities to at least keep it close, keep ourselves in the game. In At times we put together a few drives. At times the defense did really well, because the phrase that I kept thinking about when we weren't doing those things, it was like we're showing the NFL we don't belong here. And then when we would step up, we get a touchdown drive. We hit the big play to Shaheed. We got a touchdown drive. I see what your comment is, Northern. I'll be there in a second. Um, you get the defensive stop. You get it tipped by Debo so Saunders can pick a ball. And by the way, not only pick a ball, but get a nice little return out of it to really get us out the hole. Because when he started trotting up the end zone, I'm like, no, 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 no. And next thing you know, I think he made it across the 30. So those are things like, hey, yeah, those are the things we can do. And other times it's like, what in the hell is going on? Been kind of harping on this since it started showing its head in Philly. It really showed up in Atlanta. It showed up at times tonight in some inopportune moments to just kill our own momentum, either on offense or just let them out of a hole on defense. And you're going to have a hard time beating teams in the NFL playing like that. You're going to have an impossible time beating really good teams. And I know there's a couple left on our schedule that we're still going to have to deal with. You roll in there like you did tonight, you'll be just good enough to look like you belong for part of the game, but the rest of the time you're just spinning your wheels. Yeah, when you can use a tight end, when you and look, and I'm glad you said that because for the most part, other than Karloftis coming in on on the car interception, like I didn't even rewind the play, and I think the broadcast mentioned somebody missed a block, and I'm like, yeah, somebody missed a block, and he was in his grill right away. Um, were a couple pressure situations where he had to took one sack. After that, some other times where it was really on him, and he's struggling to try to throw the ball. But by and large, for patchwork offensive line that you're rolling your fourth center out of there and out there tonight, and you had Saldivari out there at some point, I believe, and Lucas Patrick who was hurting. Most part, I think he held together pretty good without having to use the tight ends and or Prentice, who a couple of times was on the field but not as a fullback, was wind up on the wing or an H back. Um, Using them to have to block all the time and help out and running only 2 and 3 man routes. We did get some more, and we went some 4 and some empty too tonight, and it looked like on some of those we were just straight up one on one pass block with the offensive line, and they gave him enough time to hit some throws out of that. So, um, also the touchdown was a nicely designed play where Moreau was faking the block. I'm pretty sure that was the one, yeah, that he leaked out and then he caught the ball up on a nice pass, and stuff like that is maddening in the sense of we can do creative stuff like that and get some plays and you know off of creativity on the offense of what we're trying to do. But really, the bottom line on this whole thing that I realized early we had no shot is if not for an exceptionally amazing run by Alvin Kamara on a pitch play, which still don't know why we try those pitch plays like that. They have not worked. Defense just seems to play inside out, sell out on it, and always bottles up. And they had Kamara dead to rights for a big loss, managed to reverse the field. Carr even, I think it was third or fourth play of the game. Carr even managed to get in somebody's way to spring him outside and picked up a 9-yard run for first down. So that was it. I mean, I don't know what our rushing numbers finished. They were around 40 something last time I looked. It wasn't great. The average yards per run, not good. And that's really like the only maybe plus 4 or 5 yard run I remember all night. So he he is oh, sorry to dance before I put it up there. He is no, he couldn't. It was just a little too late for him tonight to be able to make it. So if the game wouldn't have ran over, we might have had him for a few minutes. But no, he's got a big day tomorrow. Let's just put it like that with a lot to do. So I was like, no. Which is why I never even mentioned in the cutout that he'd be here because I knew it was going to be tough with this late of a start like this. So I mean, this is just like I don't even know what to say at this point. Going the gut punch moments in this game that I can't get away from the fact that we were gut punching ourselves for the most part, and we kept for a while until the very end there, until that fourth down non-conversion. It seemed like we were on the cusp of going. Maybe we can hit that big play and turn it around, get back in the game, just get a stop and give ourselves a chance for like one more drive to win it. Yeah, and you burn the timeout you could ill afford to burn, and then you can't complete the pass. So, kind of where we're sitting. Sucks to have this happen on a short week. This is just making it even worse, having to go in and deal with or Tampa coming in Sunday, I should say, and having to deal with them, which is now we kind of knew was going to be a must win. It's official now. That's a must win. You got to go beat Tampa on Sunday. You have to. You're in this stretch of, the 3 games in 10 days crap. You got a really good Denver team to deal with on the back end coming into the dome. So on paper, you should be able to hang with Tampa. You should give yourself a shot to win that on the road. Get this thing back to even 500. More importantly, get to 2-1 in the division. You have to protect home field in the division, and then you got to go figure out how to get the rest on the road. So we want to say the P word. I don't see how we're going to be able to do it if we rip off 3 losses in a row during the stretch to go with the 2 you had before it, when you could have won 2, should have won at least one of those 2 games. You're staring straight down the barrel of a 5-game losing streak. And yeah, how big is a Bay game? Yeah, I would say just a huge must win. You got to win it, because if not, you're looking at 5 in a row. And at that point, people want to start clamoring for benching players, cutting players, firing coaches, and all. I think it's serious consideration for some of that to go on. Also tells you that you're not as close as you thought you were. And I think we kind of slowly started to realize that over the last few weeks. But we have to sometimes when it comes to these si- mid-season decisions on where your team is headed and what you're going to do, kind of like there's 2 ways you can go based on the last few years. You can do something smart or you can do something Saints. So, I'm not saying we're tanking or anything like that. But any subsequent moves you might be thinking about making coming up in the next few weeks with your roster, guys are already on it. Who's going to be active? Who's not going to be active? Who's going to be IR'd? Who's not going to be IR'd? That whole thing. As well as, and I'm not saying the name because of the big trade and wanting to go all in and getting crazy about it. There's no point to it. If you'd had him on the field tonight, you still don't win this game. Maybe you win one of the previous 2, but in the greater scheme of things, right now, I just don't think he can bring enough to warrant what they want for him to even consider not still winning this year if you pull the trigger on that trade, and then you put yourself on a hole right back where you've been the last couple of years for 2025. So this should tell them a lot. I think they just need to scale it back. They need to beat Tampa Bay and then go from there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. It might be ticking already, but ultimately it's going to come down to somebody in the front office having to make a decision about sacking a coach. I don't know if anybody's up there willing to do it. Let's just put it that way. Either because um, they don't like firing people in some cases, or in other cases, somebody would have to admit, "Boy, we've really screwed this up over the last 3 years," and some of those don't like to admit they make mistakes. In fact, they go out of their way to try to tell you they didn't. I've been saying that all along, saying your next head coach is seeing. This is the whole thing. Why I think this 5-game losing give him his audition. That would be my thing, because I gave Da a lot of benefit of the doubt, and some things were better. Brother-in-law, the sports scout, and I were having this conversation yesterday, and I'm not going to say the P word because sometimes YouTube doesn't like it when you say it, but it rhymes with horn. And the expression of that's been said before, I can't define horn, but I know what it is when I see it. The last couple of years, this team wasn't very good, but a lot of blemishes and stuff just kind of got hidden, and we were squeaking around thinking we were better than we were. I'm looking at this team going, I don't feel that way. I can't define why. And I think it's some of the young players look like they have potential. I think the new offensive side has kind of opened up the possibilities that other teams have already realized going, if you can do this right, you can be creative enough and play call enough and get some while you're building your roster better, because we do have to do that. You can still find ways to score points. It's not the stagnant thing that we were running the last 2 years where a lot of teams could just take you out of the game and then you pad your stats in garbage time to make them look better. Because even tonight, playing against, I think this is really the best defense that we've played all year. You had one good drive, you had one good big play, you had another drive where it looks like you were going to get points, and then Olave's doing jumping jacks or whatever the hell he was doing. And you had a couple other ones that was just total garbage. I get that. But a couple other ones where you have the if then statement. If this wouldn't happen, then maybe. There was like I can think of one, uh Camaro on an inside run on one of those drives in the second half. Looked like he was bottled up, got across the line of scrimmage for a yard, and then either slipped slash tripped. Not really sure what happened, but it looked like he was about to bust out of there for a good run, and he just kind of, gets caught up for a second. It's like, if he'd have been through there just a little bit and kept his feet, you know, another chance to keep a drive going or to get the running game going, which would alleviated a lot of the problem. So, saying all that to say that even tonight against look, until somebody beats them, they're the best team in the NFL. And against a team with the best player in the NFL right now, and a team with probably the best head coach in the NFL. Um, I can't define why I'm saying this, but this looks different than it did last year taking this loss. The thing that remains the same and where I'm getting fed up is the long laundry list of stuff I read at the beginning of this where, you know, 8 plays, one of them, like I said, wasn't mental, but the rest of them all were lack of focus, just dumb things, and that's been going on for the last, 2 years and 5 games now, 17, 34, 39 straight games, more or less. It's just getting too much to take and not realize going, I don't think that's ever gonna change because it hasn't it whatever they're trying to do, it's just not having the effect that they don't start backsliding into this and creating this. So very close Northern Saint because it if we'd have pulled the magical upset, and look, you have to keep stuff in context. If we win this game tonight, if we manage to do it, it's an insanely magical, um, miracle win, honestly. But this kind of goes back to what I was just talking about. I don't have a definition for horn, but I know what it is when I see it. I guess is it also the reverse true on this one? Because even when it felt like you were doing some good stuff, you were watching going, it really wasn't that good. We just managed to make a play. There was a couple of those. And then there was a couple where, hey, we did some nice stuff on that series of plays or the dial it up a great play to get your heat to split them and throw over the top. And you kind of thought, man, get some momentum and turn that back around. And you just can't capitalize on it. And you can't take away from Kansas City. That's why I'm gonna kind of wrap this up with the miracle would have been. You can't take away what Kansas City does well, which is just a lot of times in so far the first 4 games this year. For a lot of this game, I think it started to get out of hand. Time of possession, some other stuff. Just not making plays on offense just kind of wears you down after a while, and so they were able to widen the score. But there was a stretch for this. It looked like they're probably going to win, but it's going to be their 5th one-score win in a row. Um, the thing is with Kansas City that's not enough. They're going to find a way to beat you. You can't. They're one of those teams that's truly built a system, and you got guys. Fortson, I believe, is the tight end that came back from the roster from nowhere. I mean, look at Kareem Hunt. Everybody thought he was burnt out and broken after his finish in Cleveland, and nobody wanted him this year. And God knows we could probably use him a little bit to take some carries to help Alvin out. But he looks like Kareem Hunt in his prime. So I mean, that's what they do. So context is king in this. Yes, if we'd have miraculously pulled out a win tonight, it'd have been a miracle. But I think the biggest thing I'm taking, and I'm just tired of banging on this with DA, because something's got to change, is you never gave yourself a realistic chance. Even as well as you played at times in this game, surprisingly enough, with all the limitations you had on you, especially on offense, that you got to do the stupid crap that just keeps coming back up, back up, back up to shoot yourself in the foot, to use one of the greatest sports cliches ever. Um, so yeah, that's about 5 minutes more than I thought I was going to do tonight. Notwithstanding whatever the hell happened in the beginning, and I just totally apologize for that. But I assume it had something to do with me delaying the time and never changing it officially was leading to all kind of chaos on my end. But we got to figure it out. So, um, we'll get going this week. I probably won't review and recap this game. I'd like to blame it on time constraints, but I know I could really do it if I wanted to. But I think it's just, this is one of those where you don't even watch the film; you just write it off. Going, I hope this is the last time this happens. That we get healthy and we get our heads out of our collective backsides and look, just play smart, capable football, because you've got some talented guys. You do have some coaching ability to make good calls, more so on the offense, I think, than the defense. But if you can not put yourself in close game positions where that matters as much, let some of these guys play, um, it, it would go a long way. And supposedly the back end of our schedule is going to be lighter. But if you keep doing boneheaded stuff, you're going to keep teams in that you should beat because you're better than they are. You're going to keep them in games. And right now we're proving we can't win a close game. You're going to have to, even in Tampa, when they come in, you're going to have to start fast and you're going to have to beat them. So, and I do want to say this, by the way, I thought Alontae Taylor played a hell of a game tonight. Um, Forced a fumble that we didn't become a turnover because we couldn't recover it on the reverse they tried to run. Had some big plays. Stone Cold, I think, hit Mahomes as hard as he's probably been hitting a long time on one of his scrambles, which appeared to slow him down slightly, but he's Mahomes, and he started doing his thing again after that. Um, for the most part, I think he had one or two little boo-boos in coverage, but for the most part, I thought he played an excellent game. But defensively at times, had a lot of guys that played a good game at times, and then other times they just, you know, couldn't quite make the play overall. I can't complain too much about them, but yet I can, because look at the yards and everything they did give up. It's just kind of one of those crazy games. But offensively, let's just move on. There were some good individual, like Kamara's in sensational run. Carr did drop a couple big passes in there and some plays, including the big one to Shaheed. There was little glimpses. The offensive line overall more or less held up against some best defenders in the league and a bunch of guys around him who aren't bad. They're just not him, but they start playing better when he's disruptive. Um, but I got to give a hats off. I just swear to God, I think the player of the game might even been Hayball. 4 punts. I think all his nets were over 40. He did bang a 50. At one point to kind of help us flip the field on one of these. So, um, it just sucks that I'm sitting here after 4 quarters going, play of the game, man. I can only really think of 2 or 3 guys that actually more or less did their job the whole game, as opposed to some who just, you know, did it some of the time, or in a few cases didn't do it at all. So yeah, it's time to wrap it up. Northern saying, not Miller time. I I don't know if I can say what I drink because technically I paid promo type stuff, but it rhymes with dingling. That's what I have in the fridge, and yeah, might just have to go outside, sit on the porch, unwind, drink a beer, and just go. Not even a 24-hour rule, more like a 2-hour rule. Just flush this one, move on. We'll get into the week. We'll start looking towards Tampa Bay. Put all our energy in that one because we have to beat Tampa Bay. We have to beat Tampa Bay 6 days from now. No getting around it. So tough one, tough one, tough one. We'll get through it. Hopefully, it all doom and gloom. And beat Tampa Bay. It'll all look better come next week, come a week from tonight. So I'm Tim. Till the next time I see you. Peace out. Who dat?